Hey babe, welcome to the Sweetfire Soul Revival YouTube channel. My name is Joe and I will be your host as always. So, what I want to talk to you about today is something that is very near and dear to me. It's my very favorite thing to talk about. It's what I do on a pretty much constant basis in terms of my work, and that is shadow work. So I noticed I was kind of clicking around on YouTube and there's not a whole lot about shadow work. And some of what I found was actually really good, and other things were kind of long. So I wanted to take a minute to sit down and talk to you about this in a really fucking simple way because I know that not all of us want to hear the history behind things. Sometimes we just want to fucking know what it is. So this series of videos is going to be about what shadow work is, why it's important, and how to do it. So this has kind of evolved. I've been planning this video for a really long time, and I think I've recorded 4 versions of it so far. So, finally figured out exactly what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it. And like I said, this is going to be a series of videos so that I can give you small chunks of information, but you're not sitting through an hour-long video. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I like hour-long videos, but sometimes we just need it quick. So, what is shadow work? So, shadow work is essentially the work that we do around our shadow aspects. And our shadow aspects can be formed over a lot of different ways. It could be shame, it could be limiting beliefs, it could be old stories and things that you've inherited from your household or things that people have told you. It can also be just a matter of there are things in you that you've, like I said, been made to feel were shameful. And the work is really important because we tend to repress those things. We repress the pain and the trauma, and we love that cycle of limiting beliefs and really putting limitations on ourselves, and even if it's subconscious. And it's so important to do shadow work in order to essentially break those cycles and kind of move into something different. So, a lot of people say to me, I can't even tell you how many times I've heard this, but Joe, like, I'm a light worker. I don't want to do shadow work. It's too dark. It's too hard. It takes years. Blah, blah, blah. Light work is great. Don't get me wrong. However, what is the point of it? I mean, if, let's say, for example, you're in a room and the light's already on, what would be the point of turning on another light and another light and another light and another light, right? Like, if it's already illuminated, there's no work to do. It's when the room is dark, for example, that you have to turn the light on. So, in essence, I fully believe that shadow work is the most important form of light work we could ever possibly do because we're really doing just that light work. We're showing those things that we've deemed too painful or shameful or whatever. We're showing those pieces love and acceptance, and that's what shadow work is about. It's about saying, you know what? Nothing that I've been through is being negated by me accepting and showing love and compassion towards those things and forgiving. It's another big part of shadow work is forgiveness. And that's not always everybody's favorite part. And we'll get so much more into that in another video. But we really are doing deep work when we do shadow work. It's such an imperative part of self-love, because when we show ourselves the love and compassion and acceptance wholly, even those parts of ourselves that we might feel like we can't share with other people, or that someone has told us we should be ashamed of this, or something that feels bad, when we give those things what they're asking for, which is that attention and the love and compassion, then we can heal those things. Then we can really do the work behind it. And we can say, okay, well, amazing. Now I can change my perspective about how I look at this. Is it the ultimate truth that I believe these limiting things? How can I see the silver lining and the positive things? What are the lessons that came out of all of this stuff? And so, really, I have a process that I kind of have been honing over a long time, many, many years. And really recently, I sat down and I was like, how can I fucking teach people about this? How can I show them exactly how to do it so that it's not so daunting and it doesn't make them feel like it's going to take years, or that it doesn't make them feel like it's going to be too difficult. So it's not always easy work, because we have to get really fucking honest with ourselves. And that's okay. I think that we feel ultimately that when we turn and face those things that we've been avoiding and repressing, that suddenly, I don't know, we're just so afraid to do it. Like, we're not about it. Really ask yourself why that is. Why have I been avoiding shadow work? Why has it been something that I didn't invest any time or effort into? And it's not about judgment. That's a huge disclaimer. Shadow work is never fucking about judgment. It's not about looking at things that have happened or things that you've done or not done and passing judgment on it. It's solely about getting through and really looking at things and essentially digging up the root. So, how I typically explain it is, think about a garden. And when we garden, we go out and we tend to our garden, we water it, we make sure that it's all good, that nothing is dug up, and when the time comes, we weed that garden, right? So, what happens when you just pull the top of a weed off? It's going to grow right back, right? Because the roots of that are still implanted in the soil. So, of course, we didn't actually do very much of anything by just pulling the top off, because the whole root system is still there. So, it's the root system that we really have to get in and look at and identify and say, oh my God, that's where that came from. That's where this is coming from. That's how that idea formed, or that fear, or that shame, or that pain. Holy shit. That's where it came from. Because so often we look at something on a very surface level. We say, oh, I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of that. I don't want to do this because XYZ. And the thing is, there's a whole other set of emotions and experiences where that initially stemmed from. So, when we take the time to get down deep into where exactly all of these things are coming from, the root cause of all of our shadow aspects, then we can really begin to break things down and forgive and move past and heal. And then we can reframe and implant new beliefs and new perspectives. And that's really imperative work to changing your life. I mean, this work is literally life-changing. So why would you not want to do that? Honestly, like, why would you not want to do this work? Yeah, it can be challenging. Yes, maybe you have to revisit something over and over and over again, but that's okay. The more you feel like you need to revisit it, the better you're doing because you're essentially looking at it and you're saying, you know, I'm not afraid of this thing anymore. I'm going to show it all of that love that it needs, and then I'm going to heal it again. And it might be that you do this work once and whatever it is that you do it around is done. You did it. It's healed. You can release it. You can move forward. Sometimes it takes a few times, and there's no wrong way to do this. It's really all up to you. So I know this was a little bit scattered because I have so much to say about this. But really, this is getting to that root cause, getting down to the specifics of things. And even if you can't remember every experience or every memory or every feeling around something, that's okay. Just, it's about pulling up what you can and then piecing it together and then essentially pulling out the silver lining and the new perspective and what lessons you learn, because everything happens for you. Life isn't happening to you. And so when we see things from that perspective, then we can say, well, wait a minute. That thing that happened to me, what was that for? What was it meant to teach me? And essentially, when we do this, we then continue to gather tools that can help us right now make the changes that we want. I know that we can't change the past, and we're not meant to. There's no point in trying. It's done. But we can change right now. So why not look back at those things that happened and use them as tools to make right now even better? To use those things for good, to say, you know, despite the fact that I've had all of these things happen to me, I can really go back and point out all of the amazing lessons and all of the amazing silver linings and the tools that I learned from all of those instances, and I can use them for good right now. So, we're going to get into even further how to do this in the next video. And honestly, like I said, there's probably going to be 100 million of these. Like, it's my favorite thing to talk about. So I just wanted to kind of give you a little breakdown and really just introduce you to it and explain it in a way that doesn't seem so fucking terrifying or so daunting. And because I feel like that's a big piece of why we avoid it. We avoid those things that don't feel good. And if we feel like it's going to be scary or judgmental or daunting, we're not all about it. So really, it's none of those things. Honestly, it isn't. I promise you. I mean, it is if you make them that way, but it doesn't have to be. And we'll kind of get into shadow work and mindset as well. But it's work that is worth doing. Everything that it can lead to, every outcome that it will yield for you will 1,000,000% be worth it. So, I will let you go. I will see you next time, and we will be talking even further about this amazing, amazing work. I love you. Talk to you soon.